Kindling the Inner Fire. John, I'd like to continue to share the elements of Yogi Raman's fable with you, but I must confirm something. We are living in a very troubled world. Negativity pervades it, and many in our society are like floating ships without rudders, weary souls searching for a lighthouse that will keep them from crashing against the rocky shores. You must serve as a captain of sorts. I'm placing my trust in you to take the message of the sages of Savannah to all those who need to hear it. After consideration, I promised Julian with conviction that I would accept this assignment. He then continued passionately. The beauty of the whole exercise is that as you strive to improve the lives of others, your own life will be elevated into its highest dimensions. This truth is based on an ancient paradigm for extraordinary living. I'm all ears. Basically, the sages of the Himalayas guided their lives by a simple rule. He who serves the most reaps the most, emotionally, physically, mentally, and spiritually. This is the way to inner peace and outer fulfillment. I once read that people who study others are wise, but those who study themselves are enlightened. Here, perhaps for the first time, I saw a man who truly knew himself, perhaps his highest self. This brings me to the lighthouse, said Julian, remaining focused on the task at hand. I was wondering how that fit into Yogi Raman's fable. You will recall that in the middle of the garden stood a magnificent lighthouse. This symbol will remind you of yet another ancient principle for enlightened living. The purpose of life is a life of purpose. Those who are truly enlightened know what they want out of life, emotionally, materially, physically, and spiritually. Clearly defined priorities and goals for every aspect of your life will serve a role similar to that played by a lighthouse, offering you guidance and refuge when the seas become rough. Julian transported me back to the time when Yogi Raman examined this principle with him. He recalled the sage's exact words. Life is funny, observed Yogi Raman. One would think that the less one worked, the more one would have the chance to experience happiness. However, the real source of happiness can be stated in a word: achievement. Lasting happiness comes from steadily working to accomplish your goals and advancing confidently in the direction of your life's purpose. Workaholic monks? Quite the opposite. While the sages were tremendously productive people, their productivity was not of the frenetic type. Instead, it was of the peaceful, focused, Zen-like kind. The sages of Savannah did not waste time. Their collective conscience told them that their lives had a purpose and they had a duty to fulfill. This is what Yogi Raman said to me. Achievement need not be of the material sort. Personally, my objectives are to attain peace of mind, self-mastery, and enlightenment. If I fail to accomplish these goals by the end of my life, I am certain that I will die feeling unfulfilled and dissatisfied. Julian told me that this was the first time he had heard any of his teachers in Savannah speak of their own mortality. And Yogi Raman sensed this in my expression. You need not worry, my friend, he said. I have already lived past the age of 100 and have no plans for a quick exit. My point is simply that when you clearly know what aims you wish to achieve over the course of your life, be they material, emotional, physical, or even spiritual, and you spend your days accomplishing them, you will ultimately find eternal joy. Your life will be as delightful as mine, and you will come to know a splendid reality. But you must know your life's aim, and then manifest this vision into reality by consistent action. We sages call this dharma, which is the Sanskrit word for life's purpose. Lifelong contentment will come from the fulfillment of my dharma, I asked. Most certainly. Dharma is based upon the ancient principle that says each one of us has a heroic mission while we walk this earth. We have all been granted a unique set of gifts and talents that will readily allow us to realize this life work. The key is to discover them, and in doing so, discover the main objective of your life. Over the course of the next few hours, I learned from Julian that all highly developed, fully actualized people understand the importance of exploring their talents, uncovering their personal purpose, and then applying their human gifts in the direction of this calling. The key is to have the discipline and vision to see your heroic mission and to ensure that it serves other people while you realize it. Is this a form of goal setting? Goal setting is the starting point, said Julian. Mapping out your objectives and your goals releases the creative juices which get you on the path of your purpose. Believe it or not, Yogi Raman and the other sages were very hot on goals. You're kidding. Highly effective monks who meditate all night and set goals all day? I love it. Yogi Raman said, people spend their whole lives dreaming of becoming happier, living with more vitality, and having an abundance of passion. Yet they do not see the importance of taking even 10 minutes a month to write out their goals and to think deeply about the meaning of their lives, their dharma. Goal setting will make your life magnificent. Your world will become richer, more delightful, and more magical. You see, Julian, our ancestors have taught us that setting clearly defined objectives for what we desire in our mental, physical, and spiritual world is critical to their realization. Anyone who wishes to improve the quality of their inner as well as their outer worlds would do well to take out a piece of paper and start writing out their life aims. At the very moment this is done, natural forces will come into play which start to transform these dreams into reality. What I was hearing fascinated me. When I was a football player in high school, my coach had constantly spoken of the importance of knowing what we wanted from every game. Our team wouldn't dream of stepping onto the playing field without a clear game plan that would lead us to victory. I wondered why, as I had grown older, I had never taken the time to develop a game plan for my own life. Maybe Julian and Yogi Raman had something here. What is so special about writing out your goals? How could such a simple act make such a difference? I asked. Julian was delighted. By writing out your desires and goals on a piece of paper, you send a red flag to your subconscious mind that these thoughts are far more important than any others. You change your life the moment you set your goals and start to seek out your dharma, Julian said, his eyes sparkling with the truth of his words. Have you ever met someone with a strange name and then started to notice that name appearing in newspapers, on television, or at the office? This is but one illustration of the ageless principle Yogi Raman called Jo-Riki, which I have since learned means concentrated mind.